Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Josy and today we are going into this Egyptian museum. Can't wait, let's go. Oh. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Torch.
Oh. Whoa.
This is way bigger than I thought.
Seriously. Down we go. The descent. Whoa. I feel like we're on an actual archaeological. This is so cool. Have you seen the video of Beyonce like in a pyramid? And she's just like in there like, this is amazing.
Oh, it's upside down.
Mine too. The Great Sphinx Tablet. There's that stuff. The Law Code of Hammurabi.
This is the code of Hammurabi. He was the eye for an eye guy.
Mm-hmm.
Is a faience tile from the step pyramid of the pharaoh Josy. A carnelian necklace. You chemical test a rock, you get the age of the rock, not the necklace. Now this is modern string, by the way. When it comes to fibrous material, especially this thing, it don't hold up over time. Feel that weight? Yeah. Do you think you can rock something like this? All that weight around your neck the whole day? The idea was that this isn't necessarily a necklace you would wear daily. This was actually a funerary necklace. So, cat mummies, votive offerings, right? So a votive offering is something you'd want to give to a temple in honor of a god or goddess without expecting it to come back. It was believed that the spirit of the animal would then be able to kind of hang out with that deity. Ancient Egyptians didn't normally practice sacrifice. When it came to animal mummies, usually wait for the animal to die of natural causes before mummifying them. Offer them up to the temple, and hopefully by doing that, the spirit of the animal would put in a good word for you, for that particular deity. So they would say, you know, Sekhmet, I made it here, such a good host. I wouldn't be here though if it wasn't for this person. So, you know, you just throwing that out there. Maybe help them out, maybe. You'll notice that for the wrappings, there's kind of a concave set of like rectangles. And these are known as false doors or spirit doors. It would allow the spirit of the animal to go in and out. A lot of mummies found don't necessarily contain a full specimen. Because yeah, if you're waiting for an animal to die of natural causes, you might have found it with parts missing. And that's fine. The idea was you're still gonna offer it to the deity in question. But a lot of the cat mummies found do contain a full specimen. In fact, this one does. We were able to get an x-ray in, and you can, well, you can't see it, but when we remove her from the box, she actually has the back of her skull showing a little bit. The bandages were coming undone, and there's a bit of the muzzle along with it. And some people might wonder when I say muzzle, like, why do you need that? But the idea was when you're mummifying an animal, it doesn't go through the same resources as you would mummifying a human. So you want to maintain the shape of the animal to the best of your ability. clearly this is a tubey looking cat. So what they would do is that they would pack it with clay and resin. The muzzle would still help keep the shape of the face. Also notice there's a couple black patches on the linen, and this was actually resin. So the oils and perfumes placed on top of the animal mummy is kind of like you giving that fragrance to the god or goddess, thinking that they might enjoy it as well. Cats were really used for two goddesses. One being Sekhmet, she was a lion-headed goddess, so yeah, you're not mummifying lions. To find a lion is kind of scary. To mummify it is just scary for the sake of resources, okay? So instead you would use cats. And of course there was a cat goddess known as Bastet. Now she was a protector of the home, so chances are she would be more prone to having these sort of animal mummies with her, just so you can offer that to her. There's gazelles, ibis birds, except baby crocodiles, which are adorable. You can see their little teeth. And it goes to show you just to the extent that they were mummifying animals. Some animals were harder to find than others, so if you can't find one, make one. There's one particular animal mummy in the collection that is real artifact, no animal, and it's our baboon. But get a good look at the detail, because the detailing for it is spot on. You can get a whiff of her. She's not dangerous. She kind of just smells like old clothes. You know, you kept clothes in the closet for too long? It's that kind of freshness, if you get what I'm saying.
So, wrapping styles,
We got to touch things.
I handled a 6,000-year-old oil lamp.
Well, that's kind of like the little gold statue I have that I got at the King Tut exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
The little Bastet.
That's who she is, according to the plaque.
It is her. Oh, wow. Oh, hello. Oh. Look at this. Right?
Is that real?
Oh.
She was 28 years old.
Hello. A modern Scarab. Stressful?
Just like all these little, like I feel like I'm in a public speaking, aren't I?
Well, they're listening.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
There are those who believe that pharaohs would kill and entomb their servants so that they could work for the king for all eternity in the afterlife. These Shabti statues represent the servants, and they were buried in tombs by the hundreds, leaving the real-life workers safe and sound. Oh. You good? The falcon statue. Cyrus and Horus. Oh, is that a cat?
Mm-hmm.
Mummy cat. Oh, long boy. Ooh, some flax.
Ooh.
Ooh, frankincense and myrrh.
Murder.
Ooh, surgical tools. Sekhmet was the goddess of plague and pestilence. The Egyptians reasoned that if she caused the problem, then she could certainly heal it. Therefore, she became the goddess of medicine. One of her
Epitaph. Where you at?
epitaphs
Mm-hmm.
was
Sure.
the Lady of Healing. Little inkwell in the form of a cartouche. Oh my gosh, a fragment from the Book of the Dead.
Ooh.
Right? That is cool. Oh, little scroll. I want to open it. Just see it unravel. I know. But I wanna. Snake coffin. So similar. What's this?
The ancient Egyptians worshipped hundreds, if not thousands, of gods and goddesses. An often used definition of magic is to attempt to affect the workings of the physical world through spiritual means. In this way, the people of Egypt could take some control for themselves by offering praying and hoping for help rather than sitting helpless in worrisome situations. This gallery is dedicated to the goddess Sekhmet, the lion-headed goddess of warfare, the hot desert sun,
I think one's for
Plague,
Sekhmet, one's
and
for
conversely,
Akhenaten.
healing.
Oh.
The ancient Egyptians had a strong sense of homeopathy, in which that which causes a problem can solve a problem. The Egyptians reasoned that if Sekhmet
I am
could cause a
confused.
plague, she could certainly heal the sufferers of the plague as well. And which would you rather have as your bodyguard or guardian? A bunny or a lion?
Oh, it's the little things we touch. Those are tile.
Mm-hmm.
It was thought to pacify these powerful beings.
Oh.
Shortly worshiping their god. A drink was offered each day to the image of the sun, and the image was dressed each morning as if it were alive.
Amenhotep.
Princess dresses for a party.
A family rests after a long day. Oh, some scribes working.
Oh, child, what happened to your hand?
Oh, carpenters doing work. Wow, she's still talking.
I know.
At this time. Once again, if
tomb of Khnum-Hotep, who was an Egyptian nomarch, one of the 42 state governors of ancient Egypt. Does anyone know the 3 directions you can read ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs in? You can read it left to right, and you can also read it right to left and top to bottom. Now, reading ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs was a lot like having a conversation. So, do you see how all the characters are facing to the right here at the top of the inscription? That means you read this from right to left, as if speaking directly to their faces. And that is why we don't read it from bottom to top, because it's pretty rude to talk to somebody's feet. The builders of Khnum-Hotep's tomb knew that eventually people would stop visiting him entirely. But that was okay. They were smart, and they had a backup plan. They knew that if they carved something on the walls or painted it on, it would become true in the afterlife. So on the opposite wall, you'll see a depiction of Khnum-Hotep's ka, with a great feast before him. The table is filled up with breads and meats, wine and beer. Well, wine was strictly for the nobility because it was so expensive to make. Everyone in ancient Egypt drank beer. Men, women, and even children. What a time to be alive, huh? Can anyone tell me the name of Egypt's main water source? Glad to see you are in denial about it. And they use that river for pretty much everything. I mean, they watered their fields, they washed their clothes, and their livestock, their cows and sheep, did their business in that river. So at the end of the day, it was not very clean. But the ancient Egyptians feared that if they fermented that water with some barley and some yeast, it would stop making them get sick. Because that slight alcoholic content worked a lot like hand sanitizer, killing off any dangerous bacteria and eliminating at least one of the hazards of the Nile. Underneath Khnum-Hotep's chair, he has a small pet monkey waiting for scraps to fall from the table. Both cats and dogs were very utilitarian pets, meaning they were good for a lot of different jobs and services like protecting the homes. And since they were so useful, neither of them were good enough house companions for the nobility. So the nobles' preferred pets were gazelles and monkeys. Very pretty, but not very useful. And Khnum-Hotep wanted to make sure that his beloved pet monkey made it into the afterlife with him. So instead of doing something gruesome like physically taking his monkey with him into his tomb, alive or dead, he just had it carved in the wall instead. Welcome to the burial chamber. Now it is unusual that we be able to make it into this room, as after the funeral, this would have been sealed off with a great stone slab, or to deter any robbers, and to make sure that Khnum-Hotep himself, in spirit form at least, was the only person able to come and go from this room. But unfortunately, in this case, that protection didn't work, as this is a grave that's already been robbed. Now, this shaft could be one of two things. It's commonly thought of as a burial shaft, where the sarcophagus would have been lowered inside out to make room for more offerings and gifts that Khnum-Hotep wanted to take with him. But that was very unusual for that period. So this is more likely a shaft dug by the grave robbers to check to see if Knumatep had any secret rooms that would have contained those extra artifacts instead. Regardless, the sarcophagus has been displaced and broken into in order to steal any of the amulets, jewelry, and gold that adorn Knumatep's body. Further evidence of a crime are the panels of hieroglyphs and portraits that have been chipped out of the wall. And you can tell they were intentionally removed because of the tool marks left behind by chisels. Oftentimes, when you see grave robbed tombs like this, they'll be missing pieces of artwork because they sold for a lot of money on the ancient Egyptian antiquities market, especially during the rise of Egyptomania in the 1800s in Europe and America. And one final piece of evidence of the crime is a small niche that has been carved out of the wall. This would have originally hidden a statue of Knumatep's protective deity, as this is the eastern wall, and the sun god Ra rises in the east. So here you see him hard at work at his daily tasks of telling other people what to do. You'll see all of his builders, his craftsmen, his farmers, and even his entertainers like gymnasts and jugglers. It's not quite finished yet, and that is because the only time the burial chamber could have been prepared was before Knumatep's death, and then during the 70 days of the mummification process. As the artist has shown himself here, with his supplies and assistants, finishing the job. Making it all work, huh? But it wasn't all business deals and shaky business deals for Knumatep. He wanted to enjoy his two favorite hobbies as well, which were hunting and fishing. He showed himself not only fishing, but being the best at fishing, having caught 2 fish on 1 spear. Because if you can't brag in your own tomb, where can you brag? You must first face several trials. Knumatep, have you ever stolen anything? Hail Knum. No, I have never stolen anything. Knumatep, have you ever killed anyone? Hail Sekhmet. No, I have never killed anyone. Have you ever denied another man the use of your boat? Hail Sobek. No, I have never denied another man the use of my boat. But from there, the questions only get harder. I mean, have you ever lied to yourself? Have you ever caused another to cry? And these questions could be hard to deny both in ancient Egypt and even today. But should he pass his trial, his journey isn't over yet. As now, Anubis, the jackal-headed god of mummification, is leading Knumatep into the hall of judgment, where his heart, the seat of his soul, will be weighed against Ma'at's feather of truth. Should his heart weigh heavy with guilt and touch the floor, where he lied during his 42 negative confessions, the demoness Amut will then devour his soul. She is a very fearsome creature made of the 3 most dangerous animals that ancient Egyptians had to face. She has the head of a crocodile, the front of a lion, and then the rear end of a hippopotamus. Should she eat his heart, he will then experience the final death and be unable to ever make it into the afterlife. But I mentioned earlier that his builders and painters were smart, or at least he had the money to pay them to be. So they added some more insurance onto the walls of his tomb to make sure that he made it. So while the spiritual journey was taking place in the same time in the physical world, the mummification process was also well underway. So it was critical that while he was being mummified, all the correct jewelry and spells of protection be placed upon his body. But Knumatep may not have trusted his mummifiers all that much, as he's had that same process done step for step, correctly, all the way up to his funeral. Now, once he passed away, she would then be greeted by the sky goddess Nu, who wears the stars as her dress. She will always be pointing at the direction of the afterlife, and she'll help him find his way to meet all the deities, all the way into the Hall of Judgment. Anubis placing a counterweight on the side of Ma'at's feather. So if he did fib a bit, it wouldn't have resigned his soul to an eternity of nothing. And the final piece of insurance is here, where Horus, son of Osiris, is leading Knumatep to meet his father. Osiris was reborn as the first mummy, after he was murdered, dismembered, and scattered across the Nile by his brother Set in a fit of jealousy. And as a result, he became the lord of the afterlife. In meeting Osiris, it was less of a trial and more of a congratulations, you've made it.